Deep right field. Down the line it goes. Castellanos is out of room. It's out of runner goes. 3-2 pitch hit down the line. Is it fair? It is a fair ball. Into the corner. Off and running. Yu Chang around third. He's going to score easily. And into second. Hit hard. Hit deep. Up. And Cement Rosario. And there's a fly ball. Left field. It's deep. It's up. It's gone to the porch. It's pretty well. Deep left center field. It is gone to Souvenir City.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Guardians of the CLE Podcast. I am your host, Max Goldstein, joined as always by my co-host, Mel Kirby. And tonight, we're going to be recapping a phenomenal week by the Cleveland Guardians, especially after the first two games of the season. I am at a loss for words as we have ripped off 4 straight wins, capping off today with a 7-3 win over the Cincinnati Reds. But the Guardians are leading the MLB in batting average, in runs, in hits, triples, RBIs, on-base percentage, OPS. Mel, I am at a loss for words. It looks like we have the best lineup in the major leagues right now, at least statistically. What are your thoughts on that and how we can maintain that kind of control and consistency throughout our day-to-day lineups?
Yeah, what an incredible opening week it's been. I saw a tweet today that said the Guardians are an offensive juggernaut. Like, we all need to just admit it. And I'm like, file this under tweets I did not expect to see in 2022. Because as you know, coming in, the offense was the biggest question mark on this team. We know we got good pitching. You know, they're going to run all the time. They're going to probably lead the league in steals. You know, once they do get on base, it was just the getting on base that was the issue. And I'm telling you, Stephen Kwan moving up into that number 2 spot does such good things for this lineup for a few different reasons. So at the top of the lineup, you got opposing pitchers having to deal with Miles Straw, Stephen Kwan, and then Jose Ramirez. 3 guys who, you know, see almost more pitches than anybody in baseball. Like, they're going to spoil pitches, they're going to stay alive, and they're going to find a way to get on base. And it also allows you to have Kwan in that number 2 hole so that when Miles Straw gets on base, Stephen Kwan has long at-bats. You know, Ahmed Rosario, he's a guy who could swing at the first, second, or third pitch if he liked what he saw. So it wasn't really giving Straw a chance to run. And, you know, we're seeing now with, you know, Kwan's lengthy at-bats, Miles Straw already has 4 steals and he's leading baseball. And then you move Ahmed Rosario down behind Reyes, give them some protection, and it extends your lineup a little bit. Because last year, 5 through 9 was just a black hole. And you got the guys at the bottom of the lineup. You got Miller, you got Clement, you got Mercado. Even Andres Jimenez is starting to show up, which is such a beautiful thing to see. And if, you know, obviously they may not continue at this kind of crazy pace, but if you can get even 3/4 of the production you're getting out of the bottom of the lineup right now, I mean, we're seeing what Jose Ramirez can do when he's got this kind of help around him. And Franmil Reyes is doing absolutely nothing. Let's remember that. Like, we haven't got a single thing, and we still have a black hole in the 9 spot with Austin Hedges, who we'll talk about later. But you know, when it just makes such a difference when you can extend that lineup.
Yeah, it has been absolutely unbelievable to watch the transition of how last season went from 5 to 9 to where it is today. Like you were just mentioning, backing up Ahmed Rosario into that 6 spot or the 5 spot, right. It then gives you guys like Owen Miller, who had a multi-home run game today, who's knocking the ball all over the park. It gives you Andres Jimenez, who's going to put up a good at-bat, and he's also had some extra base hits along the way as well. And then Oscar Mercado, who's doesn't have the best average right now, mind you. It's just the first 5 games of the season, 6 games, excuse me, but I mean, he's tied for leading the league in home runs with 3, along with Jose Ramirez and I believe it's Arenado out in St. Louis. But I mean, there's just so much production up and down the lineup. We are rattling pitchers early. We're getting on the board early. And for me, it's kind of like I'm sensing that games aren't exactly going to be a 1-run game for us anymore. I know we saw it in the first 2 games of the season in Kansas City, we may have just been shaking off the nerves a little bit. It was a little cold and rainy, and there was even some snow on opening day. So that could have played a factor. But ever since that third game, I mean, each and every single one of the guys in that lineup, besides for Austin Hedges, who has done his defensive responsibilities, right? He's obviously lacking at the plate offensively, but what more can we say? I mean, everybody's getting hits, RBIs, stolen bases, walks, hit by pitch. They're making it work.
Another thing too, like with such a young team, I think, you can't underestimate the confidence piece of it. And when guys seeing their teammates having success and they're able to celebrate that success, it rubs off on each other. And I think last year you had a lot of pressing going on. Like, Jose felt at times like he had to do everything, when the guys behind him weren't having success. So he's putting pressure on himself. Then, not hitting is contagious too. And this year, I think these kids are just having so much fun. There's no expectations on them, really. Nobody's really was expecting them to do much of anything heading into this season. So they're just out here playing the game they love, having a great time. And I think some of the stories, we kind of heard from Zach Meisel and some of the other beat reporters over the weekend, just about how humble Stephen Kwan really is just so incredible. And I don't know how the fan base can't just fall in love with this guy. And I'm going to go ahead and take my victory lap real quick, because I remember people arguing about if Stephen Kwan should even make the 40-man roster back in November. And I have stayed firm. This kid is going to be special at the major league level. You just can't teach hit tools like he has. His parents say it may be because of pinball. His parents met playing pinball. They, put him in front of a pinball machine. It's really helped that hand-eye coordination. So he's just such a cool kid. And from his first at bat, he just seems like he belongs. He's so comfortable in that batter's box. I mean, he had his first swing and miss and strikeout today. And it's game 5. Game 6 today. And he had his first swing and miss. And the fact that Tito even left him in the lineup against a tough, hard throwing lefty just shows you the type of confidence that they have in him right now.
And just to watch how cool, calm, and collected he is every single time he steps up to the plate before each pitch. Like,
he's got these ticks to him. Have you noticed? Right. Like, he's got these little ticks to him, and I just love it.
And he just keeps himself focused. And I've never seen anybody seem like so just confident going into each and every. It's him and Mike Trout, like guys that I can genuinely see, like not just never getting out, right? Obviously, Stephen Kwan, I think he went 0 for 3 today, but he did get on base with an RBI walk. So there you go. Just like, it doesn't matter how we're getting it done as long as we are doing it. But just a little bit more on Stephen Kwan. He's obviously been the talk of the MLB's opening week, and he's been getting on base at a ridiculous rate. So currently, he's second in the major leagues right now with, he may have dropped to 4th since yesterday. I believe he's batting high 580s right now, low 600s. So for a guy that's a rookie, it's just absolutely out of control. He's tied for first in on-base percentage. He's third in OPS. And like you were mentioning, he hadn't swung and missed at a single pitch until today. Like,
it's incredible. It's otherworldly. And these are the things and I know many people don't watch like Akron and Columbus minor league baseball games, but like these are the things, like when you watch highlights of Stephen Kwan, like there's not much. He stands so far back in the batter's box, and he keeps his hands back, and that allows him to kind of almost watch the pitch. Like, he waited so long to swing at a pitch over the weekend that he basically like hit Salvador Perez's hand with his bat, because it was like in Perez's glove, and he was still able to foul it off. And that's that vision. Like, this kid's not fooled. And I think he's 24 years old, first time seeing major league action, and for him to just have this awareness, and he knows what he can do and what he can't. And that's the thing. He's not trying to drive the ball out of the park, right? Like, if he's down in the count, he's just going to spoil a pitch just to see another one. He's not going to try and do too much with it. He's going to keep his same approach. And like I've been saying, all off season, we're going to see some power from him just as the result of having a good swing.
Right.
You know, the power for him, I don't think we really need to put like a ceiling on it. You know, he had double-digit home runs last year between AA and AAA, and that was like a high number for him. People were kind of surprised by that, and it really helped put him on the map because, you know, like it or not, people remember home runs. And those are going to come at the major league level too. Like I saw some people complaining about his RBIs before he had that bases clearing triple the other day. And it's like, he's in the 2-hole. Like his main job is to get on base in front of Jose Ramirez and Franmil. That's his main job, you know, steal a couple bases if the opportunity presents itself. But the RBIs and the power, that's just going to come, you know, as a result of him just sticking with his approach.
Well, I mean, you and I and all the Cleveland faithful hope that this continues. I mean, this could be something we've never seen before. He could lead the league in hitting, in average, in on-base percentage as a rookie. I don't think that's ever been done in Major League history before. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but this has almost been too good to be true, right?
And I'm like wanting to note our season predictions episode where I said he'd finish top 5 in Rookie of the Year voting.
Wow.
And that, I know that was crazy to some people because if anything, I think most people would think Gabriel Arias, even if he doesn't come up till May, just because he's got that like 5-tool kind of profile. And, you know, the American League does have some huge names. You know, we just saw Bobby Witt Jr. He's impressive. He's like their wonder boy. You got Spencer Torkelson in Detroit. You got Julio Rodriguez in Seattle. And those kids are struggling right now.
Right.
Not Stephen Kwan. He walked onto the scene like he belongs here. And I'm telling you, that kind of confidence, those kind of hit tools is going to play at this level. Of course, he's going to swing and miss. Of course, he's going to go through his slumps. But I think for such a young kid, like, we have to celebrate it. Why wouldn't you celebrate it?
Yeah. I mean, even guys like Bobby Witt, he had a clutch game-winning hit in Game 1, right? He made a couple nice plays at third base, but I mean,
then he had 3 or 4 strikeouts
a
day later.
But then Stephen Kwan is getting on base nearly every single time he steps up to the plate. But not to mention, he also has a couple sliding grabs. He threw out a base runner at first base from 300 feet out. Like,
his arm's playing. I was worried about his arm, but like his arm doesn't look bad this season.
Yeah,
and he makes those plays.
And guys, this is week 1. Imagine where he could be at the end of his first major league season
when the weather gets warmer. You know how it is with the cold weather and hitters.
Right. I mean, look, this guy can dump singles and doubles down the line all day long. I'm completely fine with it, right? I don't need the ball carrying that far.
Just find the hole, drop it in. It does not have to be flashy. Just get on base in front of Jose.
And you touched on it at the beginning of the podcast. When you have guys up there like Miles Straw, Stephen Kwan, and then Jose Ramirez, just those 3 hitters can give the starting pitcher 25 pitches.
Oh, easy.
And like, and who's to say you're getting all 3 of them out? Because you're not, right? So far, I don't think we've had a 1, 2, 3 inning outside of those first 2 games for that 1, 2, and 3 spot. So, you know, rolling right into Jose Ramirez, another fantastic game today. What did he have? Like he had a 2-run home run, an RBI single, or whatever it was. I can't even keep track anymore.
He was like 3 for 4. Yeah, he raised his average to 480. Raised his major league leading 14 RBIs. He was at 11.
3 home runs, 14 RBIs, both league leading. And like you were just saying, he's batting 480. Man, that contract.
And he's not even locked in yet. Believe it or not. Like, Jose is typically a slow starter, and he's just, you know, finding ways to get that ball through the infield right now because we know, like, Jose starts smoking the ball once the weather gets warmer. And I think it's so impressive. Like, Andre talked about it on the broadcast the other day. Like, him and Reyes aren't even locked in right now. Like, this is a fraction of what we're going to see from these guys. And like with Franmil, it's showing. He's struggling. He looks real off balance, not confident. Jose's just finding ways.
Right.
He hit an opposite field home run today from the right side. Like it was nothing. I thought it was a pop-up. And this dude smoked it out of the park. Like, it's incredible.
That thing got rocked, right? And public service announcement to all pitchers throughout the league. I'm warning you, because Jose won't. Don't throw him an inside fastball. You know he's going to turn on it and take it 430 feet. It's just what he does. And when he misses, well, enjoy the warning track, right? But I mean, when you have guys up there in the beginning of the beginning of our lineup, it just eases the rest of the way for the guys behind them. And Ahmed Rosario hasn't been on fire, but he's definitely doing his part. His speed's
electric. I mean, his speed is such a weapon.
Yeah, I think he has 2 or 3 infield hits. I'm not sure if he has a stolen base yet, but God, like he's smacking the ball all over the field. He's not pulling it, hitting it center and to left. He's going all over the place and finding the holes and doing his job. And that's just brings a smile to everybody's faces for a guy.
I've been hard on him too defensively, but he made a good backhanded play at short today. Yeah. So hopefully, he gets reps out there. I'm still not sure what they're going to do with the log jam. He might eventually just because he's on the same contract trajectory that Jose was on before Jose signed his extension. So he might be a candidate, in the offseason, if not at the deadline, who does get moved, which is fine because you do have that depth. That's why that, middle infield depth is so huge. But, I hope in the meantime, they seem to be done with him in left field right now. Just Kwan's playing so well. Mercado's been earning at bats. I think you worry about Gabriel Arias next month when he gets here. Until then, you could even platoon, Rosario and Jimenez, let Arias get his at-bats. They definitely have options. And I think it's, a lot of people panic over this situation. And a lot of these pieces are still, not even at the major league level yet. And it's awesome that we're even having a conversation about these next guys coming up. And I think it's always, I think we could all say it's better to have too many options than not enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Depth is always important. And speaking of depth, we were asking Andre when he joined us for the podcast, who that utility guy is going to be towards the start of the season. It came down to about 3 guys, if I'm not mistaken. It was Yu Chang, Ernie Clement, and Owen Miller. So Ernie Clement, he's been doing his job, right? He's hitting currently 897. So he's making the most out of his at-bats. Obviously, he hasn't gotten as many as the rest of the squad, but a guy like Owen Miller, like I started the podcast, has had a multi-home run game today. He had a home run, he had some extra base hits going back a couple of days ago.
The doubles. He had the 2 doubles.
Right.
He's smoking it.
And right now, I'm just checking. He's got a 524 average. The kid is taking control of that utility spot, and
he might be the everyday first baseman now.
Right.
Elephant in the room.
No, I know. And it's sad because I like Bobby Bradley and I like Yu Chang and I like their smiles on the bench in the clubhouse and the way they interact with their teammates. But kind of just has me wondering, Ernie Clement, Andres Jimenez and Owen Miller, they kind of have that infield taken over for the spots that we were looking for.
And what I'm kind of seeing is and I know we've been talking about it on this podcast, Bobby Bradley and Yu Chang were probably going to be the 2 with the shortest leashes just because they don't have the options.
Right.
They'd have to DFA them. And it's just it's strange how, dating back to last year, right? Jake Bauers got to break camp with the team because he was out of options. When Bobby Bradley had the great spring, everybody wanted to see him. So, they finally DFA Jake Bauers. Bobby Bradley comes up in June. Super streaky, which again, he's that type of hitter that's going to be a strikeout or a home run, which is fine if you're hitting home runs at a fairly consistent level. And then I think you look at second base, they didn't sign anybody there just because of all these guys you mentioned. At some point, they have to let these kids play to see who they can trade. You know what I mean? They don't want to trade away that next superstar. And, Tito talked about it a lot in spring training. With a group this young, there's going to be a lot of riding the hot hand. How could you look Owen Miller in the eyes and be like, sorry, kid, we're sitting you today. And you're hitting 524. And it's really unfortunate because I was screaming for Bobby Bradley last year. I swear I was. I'm not by any means a Bobby Bradley or Yu Chang hater. I think they both bring valuable assets to a team in the right situation. And I think where this team is right now, you got Rocchio and Valera and some of the pitching next year. You're signing, Jose, Miles, Clase to these extensions. The way it's looking to me is they're opening this contention window now. They want it to last for the next 7 to 10 years. They don't want any rebuilding, retooling while they're paying Jose all this money. So it's like they're being real, quick with, all right, you just don't have it right now. And it seems drastic to people. But we also have to remember it's not just 5-6 games. These guys had opportunities last year too. And I think, it could be another one of those things where it just benefits both sides. Send them to a place that actually they could play every day. It is hard to judge a guy on 1 or 2 games. And it does feel like that's what's happening here. But I just think with the depth they have, they have no choice but to look at guys like Owen Miller and Ernie Clement and Jimenez because they're forcing their way into the lineup. And as we know, Arias is killing it at AAA like we all knew he would, because obviously we all know he should have started the year with the major league team. It's just the service time manipulation. He's going to force his way. And, we don't know who the organization, how they have these middle infielders ranked. So it's like, if they could keep it close, they're going to be buyers in July. Because why? Because they have all these pieces. And these are pieces. Think of all the teams in baseball who are just desperate for middle infielders. You have teams like the White Sox who traded away Tatis when he was 18, 19 years old for a rent-a player. And teams don't think long-term like the Guardians do. Teams that like to spend money aren't thinking 5 years down the road. So now we're in a position where they can pretty much go out and get whoever they want at the deadline. They could get a reliever. They could get Brian Reynolds. They could get Sean Murphy or Wilson Contreras. Like, with how they played the offseason that we were all so upset about, they now have all this flexibility mid-season. And, if David Blitzer comes on, I mean, they could add a few pieces. And it's just about keeping it close.
Go get Stevenson from the Cincinnati Reds. I saw a lot of good stuff out of that kid this weekend. Not the weekend, the earlier part of the week. He threw a couple guys out at second base. He hit a home run today. Kid's a good player. But, as hot as our offense has been, we kind of thought it was going to be the exact opposite, and that the pitching was going to be, so perfect that that's how we were going to win games.
And they've been outstanding too. We don't even talk about them. We're 20 minutes in and haven't even mentioned them.
There you go. Look, we had Shane Bieber had a good start yesterday. I know it slipped away from him at the end. Aaron Savali, same sort of situation the day before. And then Tristan McKenzie today, 4 scoreless innings and 6 strikeouts. You couldn't ask for more from him. And I really do like how Tito is kind of piggybacking different starting pitchers over each other to sort of take away the strain from their arms after that rushed off season. And man, they're starting to really put it together. I like it a lot. And Plesac, can't wait for his next start, because that first one that he had, he went out there, we lost 1-0, but what more could he have done,
Yeah. And was it just me or yesterday when Bieber had that no-hitter? It was giving me flashes of the game in Chicago last April where Tito left him in for 120 pitches against Rodon. It was that pitcher's duel. And I'm like, Tito, it's April and it's 35 degrees. So I was glad to see him take him out yesterday. But, I'm seeing all this overreaction theater on, social media. And, of course, that's the home of overreaction theater. Right. But, his velocity and spin rates are down. I'm not going to be one of those people who are panicking. It's April. They're not stretched out yet. It's still pretty cold. If it's May and his velocity is still down in the low 90s, that could be a little concerning simply because he's coming off that shoulder injury. Right. And, it was a question of how he was going to look, was he going to stay healthy this year? So that's nothing to panic about. He's still got Bieber stuff. His command is still great. He had that no-hitter going deep into the game yesterday. Like you said, he gave up the back-to-back doubles, got away from him a little bit. But him and Plesac and Quantrill and Savali weren't even terrible either. And again, it's their first starts. I just think, like you mentioned, we were so concerned about the offense heading into this year. And it's like, we can do so many things with this pitching staff. And it's like, we got one of the best starting rotations in baseball. I think we can all confidently say that. But it's like the bullpen has been piecing itself together too. I mean, I will say, I don't think you can confidently put Brian Shaw in a high leverage situation right now. I think he's a good like sixth inning guy right now. That seventh inning is going to be an issue right now. Hopefully, fingers crossed when Karinchak comes back, hopefully he can be that guy. I think easily Sandlin in the eighth, he's earned that. He looks phenomenal. He got them out of a tough jam in Kansas City to win, to give them a chance to win that game. And then, Clase in the ninth, he struggled a bit with his command. He throws 100 miles an hour. He's going to have, some stretches where his command's off a little bit. But I think you got 8 and 9 locked down. Like, is it going to be Karinchak? Is it going to be Anthony Gose? Which one of these guys is really going to, put themselves in the lead for that seventh inning spot? But other than that, like, the long guys look good. Like Logan Allen's even looked good. He gave them 2 big innings in Kansas City. Eli Morgan looked really good today. So it's like, I think it's that seventh inning. To me, that's what stands out as like one spot where we could upgrade if possible.
Right. And like I was saying earlier, like, let's try to avoid that seventh inning. Let's be up by 3-4 runs when it comes to the seventh inning. So it's not that much of a pressure. Obviously, it's a 162 game season. Things are going to get tight at times, but I wouldn't overreact right now. I think people are starting to like judge them as if we're in July. Like everybody's expecting Shane Bieber to go out there and throw 11 strikeouts and 102 pitches. And then Aaron Savali's got to go 7 or it's not a quality starter. Quantrill has to go at least 5 with 8 strikeouts. Like guys, week number 1, we're good. We're chilling. Like we're 4-2. Let's see how it goes as the weather gets warmer. And not to mention, like we did have this rushed off season, but I'm never a guy that I wouldn't even call it cheating. Last year, they put out that mandate that you weren't allowed to use any foreign substances anymore. We saw what happened to Karinchak. Bieber got injured right after. Not saying anybody was using or not using anything that was suspicious, but that's also something that needs to be put into account. It's a different league this year.
And another update bullpen-wise, Eniel De Los Santos, who I thought had a pretty good shot at making the bullpen out of spring training, but he wasn't on the 40-man. He's kind of Columbus's closer right now, and he pitched a scoreless 9th today and struck out the side. So if he, keeps flamethrowing like he is down there, he's another internal option that, could possibly see some time here shortly in the Cleveland bullpen. So he's definitely still a guy I would keep my eye on. But as far as you were saying with the sticky stuff, I do think they need to find some sort of common ground with that. Also, because I don't know if you've noticed around baseball how many guys are getting plunked. Like we've had benches clearing incidents with Milwaukee and the Cubs.
Right.
Sean Murphy got hit in Tampa Bay. I mean, Jose got hit. Clement's getting hit. Hedges got hit. All these guys.
Eli Morgan hit a guy today.
Yeah. And I think Tristan hit a guy. I mean, I think there has to be, not to the point where it's cheating, because there is some stuff that's like, that was being talked about that is a little bit over the top, but there's got to be some kind of middle ground, like some kind of different rosin or something. Because, I mean, no batter wants to stand up in the box and, fear that a ball's going to smack him right in the head.
Right. I read last year that they were just using like sunscreen, just spraying it on their hands and then touching the rosin bag, and that's enough grip for them, right? But is that deemed to be a competitive advantage? Like, you've seen Michael Pineda with a little pine tar on his neck. Like that is out of line. You can't do that, right? But just to get a little something, especially as the weather gets warmer and your hands get a little clammier and damper throughout the year, right? Like they do need to find that common ground. And honestly, baseball is safer and better that way when they have more control, right? So, I mean, it's just, I guess we'll just have to see where things go. But I think after the first week, Mel, I'm in a very good spot. Like at the beginning of the podcast before we started, I was so happy, like I was shaking.
It's 90% good.
Right.
Like it's mostly good and they're fun. We said it about the Cavs when their season started. This team's fun. And
Yeah.
teams tend to be more fun when they're young and there's no expectations. So
Right.
we just got to remember all the low ball predictions we were getting, from people before the season started. So then, when they go through their first slump, we all remember that they weren't expected to do anything.
Right. Right. So, just to look at what's going on with the week ahead. Tomorrow, the Guardians have an off day, much earned and granted. But Zach Plesac's going to be taking the mound on Friday night against Carlos Rodon in our home opener against the San Francisco Giants. Followed up on Saturday by Cal Quantrill versus DeSclafani, and then Sunday is going to be Aaron Savali versus Wood. So, I mean, what is there not to be excited about? We're going back to Progressive Field, playing an interleague game, and
Friday is going to be a good test because
these are both good squads.
This lineup doesn't look much different than the one that Carlos Rodon, no hit last year. So that'll be interesting to see, like, the adjustments Chris Valaika has helped this team with. Obviously, the Giants are the best competition that they've faced thus far. You got Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford over there. Jock Peterson's hitting over 300 for him right now. Obviously, their pitching is their strong suit as well. So they're going to be a fun team. It's a team we don't normally get to see. I'm excited how they stack up against the Giants, who won over 100 games last year.
Right.
And just kind of, facing the Cleveland killer Carlos Rodon. So I'm going to be really excited to see how, they break in the Guardians era at Progressive Field. Maybe, some home cooking will be what gets Franmil going again too. Maybe he'll start drilling some balls off that tall left field wall. And
he just needs that big scoreboard.
Yeah, give him some confidence. He hit pretty well at home last year. And I mean, one thing before we leave too, we need like an over-under. When's Austin Hedges going to get his first hit? We got 0 for 16 with 7 strikeouts. He did have 2 walks today, but I'm to the point right now where, like, I was talking, with some people on Twitter about this last night, and I get it. Like, defense is super important at the catching position. It is.
Right.
But, like, offense is important too. Like, you got to be like, at least Roberto Perez was like, he had his ups and downs. He was a threat. And, like, yeah, Hedges may hit a home run here and there. But I look at, like, yesterday there were 2 guys on and he was up to bat. He attempted a bunt for 1 pitch, didn't try again, ended up striking out. Like, think of this lineup with a guy who's still good defensively, like a Wilson Contreras, Sean Murphy. They're good defensively, but they're also really good offensively. And could you imagine if our 9-hole hitter could get on base at a clip as like our 6-hole hitter does? Like, you got 1 through 9 and you're just turning it over. I mean, obviously right now, like, you have to roll with Hedges. Like, we don't know what Luke Maile has. I'm not expecting much, but like Brian Lavastida is still like a year away. He's simply here just because he was on the 40-man roster. So like, I'm not going to be calling for Lavastida or anything, but I definitely think it's worth looking, because I do think Hedges is valuable and I think he's good like 3 days a week. Like, put him in a part-time role and I think it just increases his value even more for this team.
Right. I feel like he's pressing. I know it's the beginning of the season, but like it seems like all the other guys in the lineup have at least found some sort of gel. It's him and Yu Chang really haven't done anything yet. So I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. My over/under, I'm gonna say he goes hitless in the home opener. I don't think he plays Saturday just because it's Quantrill. I think they'll give it to Lavastida to catch him like they did last week. But Sunday, he's gonna he'll get a double down the line.
After the Giants, I believe they play the White Sox and the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be tough. They play the White Sox at home, and then they travel to Yankee Stadium, which I think you're going to one of those games, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he'll get a hit for you.
Yeah, hey.
We'll put it there.
I'm going on Sunday the 24th. I'm hoping that's going to be a Shane Bieber, Garrett Cole battle. Always love watching that. But I think he's gonna get a base knock, and I think it's gonna be a little bit more significant.
It might be a home run.
I think he's gonna double down the line with a guy on second and third. That's my prediction.
Let's hope he makes it to second.
And the crowd is going wild, right? It'll be his coming out party, and I think
He's a hedgy
it'll be
truther.
right. So, wanted to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. What a week it has been. We're finally back, regular season baseball. Everything is good in the world, right? But wanted to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to bring you guys next week's episode as we'll recap the following week of baseball. Everybody, please enjoy the Guardians home opener in Cleveland. That should be quite a time, as well as, hopefully the Cavs can get a win on Friday night and explode themselves into the NBA playoffs. But thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Please follow us on all of our podcast platforms: Apple, Amazon, Spotify, etc. And as always, I'll kick it off to my co-host Mel Curry to take us out.
Yeah, we're super excited to keep talking Guardians baseball with you guys while they're having this much success offensively. This makes it super fun. We appreciate all the support we've been getting. Make sure you give us a follow at MaxwellG24 and at Mellow_NIE91. Again, they should just shut down the city of Cleveland on Friday. It's going to be electric downtown with the Guardians. The team bringing in the Guardians era at Progressive Field, and you got the Cavs playing game next door. So I'm super excited to see baseball back at the corner of Carnegie in Ontario again. They finally sold the game out. This is just a super exciting time to be a fan of this team, with all the young kids just playing their hearts out and having fun. So just enjoy it, be in the moment. Don't look for the next thing that could go wrong. Let's just enjoy some good baseball. And
Enjoy it.
Just a little scheduling update. I tweeted it out from the podcast page and my personal page, but for the next 6 weeks or so, we're going to be recording on Tuesday nights. And after that, probably June, we'll be back to our normal Monday night recordings to get you guys a recap of the week that was and look ahead to the following week. So once again, go Guardians, and this week, go Cavs. Thanks for listening.